Hey there, Mr. Witherow here. All right, we are now going to start graphing piecewise functions. Piecewise functions are simply just functions, couple different functions that are broken up, and we only want pieces of them. And they're going to tell us what pieces we want. Instead of having the whole line, right, we only want the line from 0 to 8 in this instance. Instead of having this whole line, we only want it when x is greater than or equal to 8. All right? So that's what a piecewise function is. They're going to give us a couple different functions, and then we only want them in a certain point of them, little segments of them. All right? Some segments will be longer than others, but still just segments. All right? So the first thing you have to understand is that what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to graph this line. Remember that f of x is fancy for y. So this basically says that y is equal to negative 2x plus 4, but we only want it from 0 to 8 along this x-axis. So 0 to 8. So I'm going to put my pattern, or my start and my ending. So I only want it from here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want it to over here. So this is the box that I want it in. I only want that line from here to here. Okay? So how do you do that? Well, first, let's just go ahead and graph this line. Here's your y-intercept is plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put a dot there, right? Now, I shouldn't have put a dot there because I should be smarter than that and realize that this is an inequality here. So I got lucky because this is less than or equal to, or excuse me, x is greater than or equal to 0. So this does become a solid dot. Remember that when we have or equal to means solid dot. If it's just less than or greater than, it's an open dot. Very important to know that. So I know at 8, I have an open dot. So I have to be careful with that the next time I do that. All right, so there's your y-intercept. And then my slope is negative 2, right, over 1. So I can simply go down 2 over 1, right? Down 2 over 1, 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 and down 2 over 1, right? Am I there yet? I'm not there yet because it runs out of room here. I'd have to go down 2 over 1 one more time before I got to the 8 here, right? So there is, again, remember we boxed us in here. This is where I want. This right here tells me that I only want this line. Even though this line goes forever, I only want this line from here to here. And then remember, I have an open dot on this right here because it's not included. And you can't see that. There you go. So that's what the first one is that you're going to have an open dot here. And you're going to have a closed dot here. This is the only piece of this line that I want, even though it goes forever. All right? The second one is 1/2 x plus 3, but we only want it when x is greater than or equal to 8. So that means that I only want it when x is this way. I don't care what this line looks like over here. I have to start here and find out which way it goes. So the trick to that one, instead of coming all the way back over here to the y-intercept, remember I don't want this. I don't want it when x is 0. It has to be greater than 8. So I got to start at 8 and move this way. So if I have to start at 8 and move this way, then take this value of 8 and plug it in and see what it is. So what's half of 8? Half of 8 is 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. So that means that when x is 8, y is 7. So that's that point, 8, 7. So I'm at 8 and I go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I put a solid dot because it's or equal to And now I can go from there. So what's my slope? My slope is 1 over 2. So I go up 1 over 2, and I put another dot. Up 1 over 2. So basically what this is telling me is that it goes this way, and I'm done. I know it runs off the graph, but that's okay. Those are the pieces of it. Since it doesn't have an ending point, it just says x is greater than or equal to 8. That means it goes forever. That's why this one has an arrow. This piecewise, this piece of this graph doesn't have arrows because it has bookends. It only wants it from 0 to 8. 0 to 8. That's the x value. I could have done this. I could have plugged 0 in. Negative 2 times 0 is 0 plus 4. That's why I put the point there. If I put 8 in here, negative 2 times 8 is negative 16, plus 4 is negative 12. That's what this point is. So you can always just plug these values in for x, find out what the y value is, and then plot those points. All right? Okay, let's try another one, right? Here we go. All right, so again, g of x is just fancy for y. So let's take a look at this. This says that we need y is 1. So here's 1, right? So typically you would have y is 1. If I wanted y is 1, I'd go like this, and I would go forever and ever and ever. But they put a restriction on it. They only want it when x is greater than or equal to 0, but less than 2. So let's go look at what our x values are. So they want it from 0 to 2. That's the only part of this. And then remember that we want a closed dot at 0. So we put a closed dot here. And we want an open dot at 2. So we put an open dot here. We want to connect those two, so that's what it is. So that means that I have to get rid of the rest of this line, right? Because it only wants that y is 1 only at that location, okay? So now we do the second one. Now they want y is 3. So this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So now I'm looking here, and again, I know that it would normally go all the way from negative infinity to positive infinity, but they put a restriction on me. They want 2 to 4. So that means it's a closed dot at 2, an open dot at 4, and I connect it. Now y is 5. So this is 4, 5. It's a closed dot at 4 and an open dot at 6. And I draw the line. And then the last one is at 7, 6, 7. It's closed dot at 6, open dot at 8, and that's the line segment. So really we're looking at line segments for each one of these. That's what it would look like for it. Piecewise functions. We are graphing these because now we're going to, instead of taking the whole thing, we only want this part of it. All right, last one. Let's try another one here. All right, so we've got 3 of them here now, which is no big deal. We're just gonna work left to right. Or top to bottom here, okay? So we have this y, remember, fancy for y. Y is equal to 1/4 x plus 3, but we only want it from negative 2 to 0. So again, we only want it from here, from this whole thing to here. We only wanted that short little segment, wherever that is. All right, so let's see what it looks like. We're gonna have an open dot on this negative 2, but we're gonna have a closed dot on the 0. So let's see what it is. This time I'm just gonna simply just take this and I'm gonna plug it in. So 1/4 times negative 2, if I had my calculator, I would know that that's negative 1/2. Right? And then plus 3. So again, if you need to see that, let's see that. Let's see, and this is why a calculator is pretty good to have here. if I have 1/4 times -2 plus 3. It's going to be 5/2, right? If you don't like 5/2 and you want decimals, it's 2/5 or 2/2, 2.5. So that's what the y value is. So when x is -2, the y is 2.5. So I go up 1, 2, half of it. So just estimate it. Remember, it's an open dot. So just make an open dot right there. Now I'm going to put 0 in for here. Well, 0 times 1/4 is 0, plus 3 is 3. So this one is here, and this one's a closed dot. Very small, so we're just going to connect it, just like that. Pretty small. Now the second one is y is 2, right? Y is 2, but I only want it from 0 to 4. So 0 is open dot, y is 2, so we're going to have it right here. This is an open dot, all the way over here to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I put the closed dot on 4 because it's or equal to, and that's the line, part of that line that I want. That's the piece of that line that I want. That's why it's called piecewise. All right, there we go. And then the last one, even though this isn't in y equals mx plus b form, right? We should probably switch that around. It's like that. Y is equal to -3x, or excuse me, -x minus 3. But this time I want it from 4 to 7. 5, 6, 7. So again, I want it from here, 5, 6, 7 to here. So I'm going to stop it here, wherever it is. Okay? So again, we can substitute these in here. So if I put a 4 in here, right? If I put a 4 in here, that's -4 minus 3, which is -7. So that means that 4, I'm all the way down here at -7. -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an open dot. And then when I put 7 in there, that's -7 minus 3 is -10. So at -7, I'm way down here. It's or equal to, so I've got a closed dot. So then there's my point. There's my segment. There's my piece that I want. So graphing piecewise means that you're simply just going to take this line, and all we want is a piece of it between these points right here. And so it's going to look kind of crazy, but that's what it looks like. All right? Give it a shot. Keep having fun.